Morning children, this is Vijay, biology lecturer from Allahabad Junior College. Today we are going to start our NEET syllabus, Biological Science Unit 1, Living World in detail. The next topic is about building blocks of life and their role. So what are the different building blocks of life and their specific role we are going to discuss now. So let us see one by one. See, usually the living organisms which are formed of many types of inorganic and organic molecules, and these organic or inorganic molecules are made up of biomolecules. Say for example, like this water, oxygen, sodium chloride or salt, and these are the macromolecules. Say for example, like carbohydrates, lipids and proteins. So these are helping to perform their life activity. So these are the different building blocks of the living organisms. Let us discuss one by one in detail. The first one is about the role of water. So water, it is one of the important biomolecule. Around 70 to 90% of the cell which is made up of water, and it forms 65%. That means about 2/3 of the human body which are comprised by water, and this water is formed of hydrogen and oxygen. These are the two elements forming 2:1 ratio of hydrogen and oxygen. This water, it is showing a major role, a specific role for all the living organisms. The major role of this water is for conduction. Also, it is helping for all the biochemical reactions. Say for example, we discussed about metabolism. So this metabolism again divided into two different categories, like anabolism and catabolism, constructive and destructive processes. So these metabolism will be carried out in the living organism with the help of this water. So water is an essential or very very important factor that can helps for sustaining of different life processes. So that is about the role of water. Next, the role of oxygen. So when we are talking about the role of oxygen, we should remember about Lavoisier. So who is the person initially he proved that oxygen is essential for the living organism under his experiment. Okay, oxygen, how it is helping for the living organism. Oxygen is mainly utilized in all the aerobic type of cell respiration. That may be a unicellular organism or it may be a multicellular organism. These are utilized in the mitochondria that along with the food which are digested, food molecules are broken down into simpler molecules. So that could be able to generate ATP, and these ATP molecules are very very essential for the all living organism. So these ATP is nothing but adenosine triphosphate, and that could generate energy for all living organism, and this energy, without this energy the organism cannot perform their life activities or life properties. Okay, that is about the role of oxygen. Now let us discuss about the role of NaCl. NaCl is nothing but salt, sodium chloride. These also playing a major important role for all the living organism. Say for example, all the metabolic activities, as I said before, the anabolic and catabolic, destructive and constructive processes, and these all processes will be carried out with the help of this sodium chloride. After the metabolism, the energy could be able to be generated. That energy is called ATP. So for the generation of ATP, this sodium chloride also very very essential and important factor. This is also one of the considered as building blocks of living organism. Okay, so now let us discuss about certain macrobiomolecules. So these are said to be microbiomolecules. And what do you mean by these macrobiomolecules? Macrobiomolecules are made up of polymers. They are combined with all the simple substance of monomer. So monomers combine together to form a huge polymers. That is about macrobiomolecules. and these macro biomolecules are like carbohydrate, lipids and protein. Macro biomolecules could able to give certain specific role for the living organism, like energy giving and like protective function. Also it could able to generate the different cellular activities. So this is about the role of carbohydrate, lipids and proteins. So these carbohydrates are the organic compounds which are formed by CHO, that is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, in the ratio of 1:2:1. So under this ratio these carbohydrates are formed. These are commonly called as, in general these carbohydrates are called as saccharides. Saccharides are nothing but, the meaning of saccharides are sugar biomolecules. Okay, so the most of the organism they use the carbohydrate as an important fuel to get energy to sustain their life. So that is about the role of carbohydrate. Okay, when we are talking about this role of protein, so role of protein, that is nothing but the proteins are the substances which are polymeric compound and which are combined by all the small monomers of amino acids. And the role of protein are very important for all the living organisms. Say for example, these out of 100 types of amino acids, there are only 20 types of amino acids which are said to be the biologically important amino acids. And based on that, biologically complete protein and biologically incomplete proteins, like that we can divide the protein into two different categories. Okay, the role of protein is mostly for protective in function, which shows the major vital role in the formation of structure in all the living organism. Mostly this comprises the cell wall and cell membrane, so that could able to give protection for the cell and cell organelles. So that is the role of protein. Now we are discussing about lipids. The role of lipids also similarly like protein and carbohydrate, these are also made up of the polymers of different types of alcohols and glycerol. So these are the monomers combined together to form these lipids. Major role of these lipids are to give the energy for the living organism, especially for the cell and cell organelles. So that is a major role of these lipids. And apart from all these, one more factor which we would like to discuss, that is about role of nucleic acid. So under this category there are two major components are called RNA and DNA. So this could also help for certain specific role for all the living organisms. Now let us discuss about this. These are the polymers of the nucleotides which are interlinked with, the bond is called phosphodiester and that bond is called phosphopolynucleotides. So this is the bond which is formed for the nucleic acid, and there are two major nucleic acid we are discussing about. The nucleic acids are RNA and DNA, and the nucleotide present in the RNA and DNA which are composed of pentose sugar, and also it could contain phosphate group and also some inorganic nitrogen base purine or pyrimidine structures. So these are the different building blocks of life and their specific role. So the next content is about energy transformation and energy transfer. So let us discuss about this topic, how the energy is converted from one form into other form in the living organism. So that is about the energy transformation. So this is a phenomenon of conversion of one form of the energy into the other form of the energy. Say for example in photosynthesis. So photosynthesis, which is said to be anabolism, that is nothing but the constructive process. Radiant is nothing but sunlight, which gives kinetic energy, and these are changed into a chemical energy called potential energy. So utilizing of the sunlight and presence of this chlorophyll, the pigment present in the green leaves, it could able to produce certain potential energy. This process is a biochemical process, and the potential energy is in the form of glucose, that is nothing but starch or cellulose. Okay, so in this way the energy is getting to be transformed in the living organism. Say for example, this is an example for how the energy getting to be transformed in plants. And all the living organisms which are depending on this particular type of energy transformation. Like similarly, the energy transformation which involves for the movement of energy from one source of a substance into the other source of the substance. Say for example, you can see in a cell the cellular level respiration, metabolism. As we discussed anabolism in the photosynthesis, that is constructive process, and in cellular respiration in the cellular level, that is catabolism. This process is called destructive process. So destructive process is nothing but oxidative breakdown of the formation of glucose, which happens in the mitochondria of all the aerobic plants and animals. Okay, so when it happened in the inside of mitochondria by the catabolism process, what it could generate? It could able to generate particular form of chemical energy in a high energy bond of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and these are formed by the phosphorylation, adding of phosphate. Phosphorylation is nothing but adding of phosphate. So the phosphorylation of ADP, adenosine diphosphate. So adenosine diphosphate combined with phosphorylation and could able to form ATP, that is nothing but adenosine triphosphate, and this adenosine triphosphate is nothing but form of chemical energy. So utilizing this energy, the organism could able to perform different type of life activities. This flow chart could able to give energy transformation occurs in the living organism, especially like in plants. You can see like C6H12O6, that is nothing but glucose, and glucose in the presence of oxygen and involving for the anabolic process, adenosine diphosphate is converting into adenosine triphosphate by phosphorylation, and that releases the energy, and utilizing this energy the living organism could able to perform many activities. Like say for example, animals and human beings, these chemical energy converting into electrical energy for the nerve impulses, and also mechanical energy for the muscular contraction for lifting an object. For all that, this chemical energy is utilized. Say for example, in the nerve cell, where the chemical energy which is converting into the electrical impulses, so that is nothing but chemical energy converting into electrical energy. And retina of eye, so where the light could able to penetrate inside and could able to form the images, and with the help of certain electrical impulses. So here also the light energy is converting into electrical energy. And in kidney, if you see here, the chemical energy which is undergoing for osmoregulation and to form osmotic energy. So here the chemical energy is converting into osmotic energy. And muscles of the all living organism and cilia, flagella, fimbriae, these all are the apparatus present on outermost layer of the micro level organism. Say for example like euglena, bacteria, these are the example. These cilia and these muscles, chemical energy is converting into mechanical energy. So with the help of this mechanical energy, the muscles of the living organism could able to do certain function, and also the cilia could able to undergo for the locomotion. And if you see for example like bioluminescent living organism, like a firefly is one of the example. So where the chemical energy which is converting into light energy, that is a reason the particular insect could able to produce different colors of light. And next, ear. In a human ear, where the sound energy is converting into the electrical impulses, and these electrical impulses are carried to the brain and spinal cord. So here the sound energy is converting into electrical energy. So these all are the few forms of energy transformation with certain examples. Now let us discuss a few more terms which are related to the living organism, like homeostasis. So homeostasis, which is nothing but It is the maintenance of the constant internal environment or steady state of the living organism. Say for example, this could occurs in the blood plasma and hemolymph and extracellular level fluid. Homeostasis is necessary for the living organism, and that would give the balance to the living organism to survive. Homeostasis was first coined by Walter in the year 1929. And next we are discussing about thermoregulation. So this is very important. So thermoregulation is nothing but maintaining of heat, which is internal and external environment of the body. So this is about the thermoregulation. So maintaining of the temperature or regulation of the temperature in the body of the living organism is one of the essential fact that would give the balance to the living organism. Say for example, based on this regulation of temperature, the living organism could able to divide it into two major groups like poikilotherms and homeotherms. So these are the two category of this thermoregulation. These are nothing but these kind of animals are the organisms having variable temperature, and these are also said to be cold-blooded organism or cold-blooded animals, and their body temperature changing with the fluctuation in the environmental temperature. Its body temperature could able to change according to the environmental temperature. So this is about the poikilotherms. And homeotherms, these are the living organisms which are having the same kind of temperature. Say for example, the mammals, all the category of mammals, birds, fishes, and these all are a few examples for the homeothermic type of animals. And these organisms are warm-blooded organisms. Their body temperature is independent to the environmental temperature. And poikilotherm organism, examples like reptiles, we can take it as an example, like snakes, crocodiles, and these tortoise, these all comes under this poikilothermic. And certain insects also comes under this category, where the homeothermic examples are just now we discussed, like mammals, birds, and fishes. These are the examples for homeothermic type of living organisms. And next, one more important term we are discussing factors for the living organism are adaptation. So this could be defined as any characteristic features of the living organism which makes the organism better suited to its own environment. This is called adaptation. In other word, we can say the adaptation which improve the performance of the survival of the organism according to their own environment. So the organism could able to adjust with the environment, that is called adaptation. So individuals with favorable characteristic features which replaces those with less favorable characteristic features. And this adaptation, based on this, the organisms are further classified into many categories. So we'll discuss about in detail in other chapter adaptation. Ecosystem environmental biology will discuss in detail. So now we are going to discuss about nomenclature. So nomenclature meaning is, this is nothing but naming of organisms. So nomenclature is essential for all the living organism. Why? Because to study a particular kind of species of living organism in detail and their origin of species, this nomenclature could able to help to understand thoroughly about that particular organism. Okay, now this nomenclature, the history of nomenclature, let us see now. In the earlier, this naming of organism which was said to be polynomial type of nomenclature. That means a particular species of a plant or animal or any kind of living organism could be named with their regional languages and also mother tongue. So they were discussed with different languages of a particular species. So to avoid such a confusion, this nomenclature was proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. So this nomenclature, this was proposed by the Swedish naturalist Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1753. So according to the nomenclature, naming of organism, he formed binomial system of nomenclature. So binomial meaning is utilizing of two different terms for a single species. So according to this system, the name of the organism like plants or animals which are composed with two Latin words. These two Latin words which are denoted with the first letter of the first word of the Latin should be written in the capital letter, and the second word of the Latin word should be written in small letter. So say for example, potato is an example. This potato binomial nomenclature which was called as Solanum tuberosum. So Solanum tuberosum, where the first letter S should be mentioned capital letter, and the second term of this Latin word tuberosum should be mentioned with a small letter. So this is about the binomial nomenclature proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. Similarly, house sparrow is there. So that is one of the example. For this we are using binomial nomenclature Passer domesticus. So Passer domesticus, in this the first word Latin word passer with the first letter P capital should be written, and domesticus the second letter second small letter. So in this way all the living organisms are categorized by binomial nomenclature. So this would help for throughout the world. Single name should be used for a particular kind of species, so this could not give a confusion about the particular species in detail. So this could help for studying about the particular species in detail. And similarly, name of the author who names the particular organism, first letter should be written followed by the binomial nomenclature. Say for example, like Mangifera indica, mango tree is a scientific name. So where Mangifera indica, and finally we are writing capital letter L. So here the L stands for Linnaeus, where Lichenius alpha, this is a scientific name where letter should be written Mill. Mill is stands for Miller. So like the name of the author to be written followed by the living organism's scientific name. So that is about binomial nomenclature. Now trinomial nomenclature. So the name itself shows about tri meaning is three. Certain species are divisible into smaller units called subspecies or varieties. On this basis we are mentioning with trinomial nomenclature three names to be used. Say for example, Homo sapiens europaeus. So where it is the name of the man of European race, using three different terms, Homo sapiens europaeus. So this is called a trinomial nomenclature, where the first letter should be written capital Homo and sapiens europaeus. So here the other two words, the beginning letter is written in small. So this is about trinomial nomenclature system. And next one is about code of biological nomenclature. So under this we are going to discuss about three important terms which are ICBN, ICZN, ICVN. So let us see one by one. So code of biological nomenclature. If anyone can study or describe, identify and give a name to a particular organism, which are provided certain universal rules that should be followed, and these rules were framed and standardized by this International Code of Botanical Nomenclature and International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. So based on that, the species might be a plant, then the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature rules to be followed. Animals, where the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature rules to be followed. So this is about the code of biological nomenclature. Okay, these codes helps for avoiding the errors, duplication, confusion, and with the scientific names. So these are the major uses for the applications of this code of biological nomenclature. And similarly, like ICBN, ICVN, ICNCP. So these are also the different code for the living organism, like the names of bacteria or viruses that could be decided by this international code of bacteriological nomenclature and international code for virological nomenclature. So V stands for virus, B stands for bacteria here. Similarly, like international code of nomenclature for cultivated plants. So these are also certain organization where the certain rules are framed, and that rules to be followed for this code of biological nomenclature. Model papers, and also will be able to solve that past previous year NEET question papers, that also we will discuss in detail. So this is about Unit 1 Living World. Thank you, children.